welcome to the Public Global. Today we'll be discussing cyber war versus internet. Cyber war is bigger than any war in the world. It is vital that global democracies mount a significant response to deter future attempt to disrupt Western critical subsea infrastructure, act which aims to undermine democratic resilience. We're going to be discussing in detail what is cyber warfare and how are these undersea cables which provide us internet, data, banking, softwares, and also it takes control of the national grid, where in many countries the electricity grid also operates through these cable companies, through these cable operations, which provides data and internet. How are they affected, and how cyber terrorism or cyber warfare is going to be the next big thing, which is going to undermine democracy and will also lead to a lot of infighting between different countries. If there is a tariff war, there is a trade war, there is also a cyber war. However, cyber war or cyber terrorism, as you call it, is a combination of computer network attacks and defense and special technique operations. This term is closely related to the concept of gray zone, just short of a full-fledged war. When you say the gray area is it's a gray zone, it's not a full-fledged war. Countries have not declared war against each other, but then they're also trying to sabotage or conduct espionage operations through various software programs and through cable cutting, so that the internet and the national grid of those countries are affected in electricity provision, gas provision, or any kind of essential items or essential services are hurt. However, cyber warfare is the use of cyber attacks against an enemy state, causing comparable harm to actual warfare and or disrupting vital computer systems. Some intended outcome could be espionage, as I said, sabotage, propaganda, manipulation, or economic warfare. Many countries, including the United States, United Kingdom, Russia, China, Israel, Iran, and North Korea, have active cyber capabilities for offensive and defensive operations. In June 2019, the United States launched a cyber attack against Iranian weapon system in retaliation to a shooting down of a US drone in the Strait of Hormuz. Experts equate large-scale cyber weapons such as flame and net traveler to biological weapons or warfare. So it's a very dangerous thing, because you can develop any kind of cyber weapons and attack the other country by through sabotage or espionage operations, through propaganda and manipulation, and the essential services or hospital work can also be affected, causing a lot of human tragedy or damage to the human life. However, cyber warfare or internet war, that you call it in popular term, is a serious threat to national security and can be a major form of conflict. It can involve a variety of attacks, which include disrupting or controlling an enemy resources, damaging critical infrastructure such as hospitals, dams, and nuclear power plants, hijacking communication networks for disinformation campaign, sabotaging stock exchange transactions, using social media to influence public opinion. However, cyber warfare can be conducted by state or non-state actors both. It can be used to wage political warfare or to gain an information advantage over an opponent. However, artificial intelligence, on the flip side, advances in the artificial intelligence and other technologies also provide new tools and preventive strategies for police and counterintelligence agencies to prevent attacks and identify perpetrators. But here too there are risks. For example, predictive policing coming with its own downsides, including inbuilt racial and religious biases, which can endanger or engender radicalization to violent extremism. So you've seen Pegasus, if it's used for military operations, as is used by Israel, can be can be good for the economy because it provides defense infrastructure. But if it is used against the civil society members, against people who are speaking against the government, or against the values of democracy, as it happened in India and other countries, and you saw how Adnan Khashoggi was killed through the same Pegasus software in the embassy by Saudi Arabia, goes on to say that how the civil society workers and people who know too much information can be eliminated through such attacks. However, implications of cyber warfare affects everyone, not just soldiers and spies. Cyber warfare can undermine international peace and security, as I said before, and cyber warfare can weaponize a target's own cyber physical infrastructure. However, in computing, the denial of service attack, which is called a DOS attack, or distributed denial of service attack, which is called a DDoS attack, is an attempt to make a machine or network resources unavailable to its intended users. However, DOS attacks may not be limited to computer based methods, as strategic physical attacks against infrastructure can be just as devastating. For example, I will give you a small example on this. Cutting undersea communication cables may severely cripple some regions and countries with regard to their information warfare capabilities. So, this has become a new tool in the hands of the countries like China, Russia, and US, where undersea communication cables are cut so that data transfer, banking transactions, and critical data which goes through these undersea cables may not be able to work, and it may cripple the economy. However, undersea communication cables can be cut by ships, anchors, and other tools, or by international acts of sabotage. These incidents spotlight the fragile backbone of our digital world, where over 90% of international data transfers relies on these underwater conduits. Ships, trawlers or ships dragging their anchors can damage the severe cables. Volcanic eruptions can damage cables. For example, a volcanic eruption of the coast of Tonga in 2022 damaged these cables. However, international damage, which is sabotage, can also be a malicious actors can deliberately cut cables to disrupt data transmission. Military operations can target undersea cables. For example, Russia may have been targeting cables in Nordic waters as part of the Kremlin campaign. However, repairing these damaged cables can be expensive and time consuming. Lawmakers have proposed increasing penalties for damaging subsea cables to deter sabotage. Example Prime examples of undersea cable damage: in November 2024, a cable connecting Finland and Germany, another connecting Lithuania and Sweden were cut in the Baltic Sea. However, in September 2022, the Nord Stream 1 and the Nord Stream 2 pipeline were damaged by explosion in the Baltic Sea, with Chinese ships suspecting to have cut undersea communication cables around the world. A review by Newsweek says that Chinese language patent applications show that engineers in China invented devices to sever such cable quickly and cheaply. Cables have been damaged in the Baltic Sea off Norway and around Taiwan. Russia or China ships have been identified crisscrossing the location prior to the damage, making them the main suspects and raising questions over whether it was a sabotage. China had said earlier that at least one of the incident was an accident, while the fact that patents were sought for anchor-like devices for cutting submarine cables does not mean that they were used in these incidents. It does indicate an interest in cutting them. Marine experts have said the cables are vital for providing data connections and internet services in an increasingly connected world. However, a dragging type submarine cables cutting device was developed in 2020 by a team of engineers at Lishui University in coastal Xinjiang province, which is opposite Taiwan. However, within the development of science and technology, more and more submarine cables and communication cables were laid on the seabed of all parts of the world. And all cables need to be cut off in some emergency situation, the Lishui University author wrote. However, these radio cables have been going on since the 70s. If you see, when radio was invented, so the similar way the radio waves were transmitted from one country to the other through these underwater cables, but now they are more sophisticated, and these cables now provide internet data and also lot of transactions through banking network, through finance network, stock market operations happen through these cables. The traditional cutting method needs first to detect the position of the cables, then excavate and salvage them for cutting. The process is complex, a lot of expensive equipment is needed, and the cost is too high. However, three key undersea cables in the Red Sea, crucial for global internet connectivity, have been severed. The cutting of these cables highlight the vulnerability of the world's digital infrastructure. Efforts to reroute data and repair the cables underscore a complexity of maintaining global internet connectivity. However, China certainly has the technical capacity and motivation to take on such a hybrid threat operation, in which a nominally commercial vessel is suddenly utilized for subsea infrastructure sabotage around Taiwan. After all, this is the trend we continue to see play out in Western European waters also, and also mirrors other recent incidents in the cross strait region, such as the 2023 cutting of subsea telecom cables at the Matsu Island by a purported Chinese fishing vessel. The Matsu Island lie in the Taiwanese Strait between Taiwan and China, just a few miles of the China coast. So it's a real internet war, trade war, and now we have a cyber war and also cutting undersea cable war, which is also detrimental to the growth and the linkages of various countries. However, finance of these undersea cables are managed by Amazon, Meta, and Google. US and China tenders this process through Chinese Trade and Development Agency Education Authority is Federal Communication Commission, which is also called FCCS. And Asia, Singapore, France through these submarine cables have already been laid out. 14 lakh kilometers cable work is already processed. Banking, internet via US subsea cable company. China is also has a company called HMN Technology Company for this Southeast Asia, Middle East, and the European route. However, Tata Company of India is also one of the subcontractors for cable laying. This tender, which was floated, was given to the US company for $750 million. However, China had quoted the same for 500 million. But because US and Europe, they don't trust China, they always accuse China of sabotaging or espionage operations. That's why America was given this contract. US Trade and Development Agencies, through its subcontracting business, have given orders worth 308 million USD for the same. And various company, which are called I2I company, which was merged with Airtel, is also part of the subcontract business. There are other companies in Egyptia. There are companies in Djibouti and Maldives. However, in February 2023, Taiwan cable cut was accused. China has done it, but then a fishing boat in China accidentally cut it. This is what China claims. However, in October 2024, cable was also cut in Baltic Sea between Finland and Sweden. Power supply was also affected, as you remember. 8 members of NATO countries in natures are affected by the same. In 3 locations, accusations that Russian chip was responsible and Russian chips were also visible with the Chinese ship in the Baltic region when such incident happened. This is a serious allegation by the international authorities, which could, jeopardize SWIFT system, because see, SWIFT system is also managed through the cable system, and it also poses threat to the finance, defense, banking, and correspondence. So I hope you like the program of today, and we hope and believe that the world would be a more safer place, and people will align to work together than to be at war with each other. Um, Today, we have done this program, and I hope and pray that you people like it. Please write in the comment box how do you find the program. Until next week on Tuesday, I'll be coming back with more. Thank you very much for listening to us and being part of the public global. Goodbye for now, and Jai Hind.